The disruption of deepwater Black Sea maritime routes forced an immediate, inefficient pivot to inland waterways. Danube River export volumes surged from under 0.2 million metric tons per quarter in 2021 to a peak of 2.4 million metric tons in the third quarter of 2023. Bypassing traditional maritime infrastructure imposed a severe economic penalty. The transit cost premium for routing grain via the Danube peaked at $41.50 per metric ton. This represents an eightfold increase over the pre-conflict baseline. While the partial reopening of Black Sea ports in 2024 reduced Danube volumes, a persistent premium of $24.50 per ton remains. This cost floor highlights the structural inefficiency of inland river logistics compared to direct maritime shipping. The primary physical barrier to this overland pivot is the break of gauge at the Ukrainian-European border. Ukraine operates on the Soviet standard 1520mm broad gauge rail system. Neighboring European states use the 1435mm standard gauge. This incompatibility requires either mechanical bogie exchanges or physical transshipment of bulk grain. Physical transshipment doubles processing latency, requiring up to 36 hours per train at major crossings like Vadel-Seyrt. This delay restricts daily throughput to just 120 wagons. The port of Galati bypasses this bottleneck by running a broad gauge line directly into Romanian territory. This infrastructure reduces processing times to 8 hours and boosts daily capacity to 220 wagons. Elsewhere, lack of specialized transshipment infrastructure creates multi-day rail backlogs. Once grain reaches the Danube, it encounters a severe maritime bottleneck at the Sulina Canal. This narrow channel is the primary deepwater outlet to the Black Sea. In September 2023, the active vessel queue peaked at 145 vessels. Average waiting times reached 18.5 days for inbound barges. Daily transit capacity only expanded from 15 to 24 vessels over 30 months, despite emergency dredging. This capacity deficit drove vessel demurrage costs to $15,000 per day. This crisis mirrors the late 19th century grain bottlenecks in the American Midwest. Incompatible rail gauges and transshipment monopolies at Chicago then forced federal intervention. Today, physical geography and rigid infrastructure continue to dictate the limits of global food security.